Very simple way to create an area that you're going to print on, okay? The first thing you do, which I won't show you, is you need to degrease your screen, okay? Degreasing your screen is just taking your screen and cleaning any fingerprints or things off of it, especially fingerprints, okay? What happens is the oil gets into the screen, and then when you coat it with either screen filler or emulsion, you'll get little pinholes because the oil will resist the acrylic. So that's what you don't want. So usually you just take your simple green, squirt it on here, you go to the sink, scrub it down, both sides, and wash it off and dry it. Okay. I would advise for these samples, because your paper is only 11 by 15, do, a 9, no bigger than 9 by 12. Okay, just to start, to have some fun. So what you're gonna need for this is you're going to need some of your brown tape. You're going to need a nice sharp, this is sharp enough, box cutter. You're going to need a ruler, and then something to mask out. So this right now is 6 by 9, okay? A little ball of tape under it, because what happens is the static electricity will sort of suck it up. And I just lay this down, just a little bit of tape, Then what I do with this is I basically, like over ½ an inch or something, tape it. Remembering that it's going to be the outside of this tape that is going to be your final printing area. Don't think, oh, I'll make this 9 by 12 and that'll be it. The minute you put these on, it gets much bigger, okay? So, I usually just cut myself off a piece, and you don't need to lay this down and burnish it down really hard. I just sort of lay it down really lightly. You can either overlap an inch and a half, or ½ an inch or an inch, and then I line it up with this, okay? Now the nice thing about the plastic is if you screw it up or something like that, if you don't like the way you've laid it down, you can pull it up. Whereas a newsprint is not that simple. Okay, and then what I do is, I'll just carefully trim one of my edges, trim this edge off, okay? But you can see I'm not really putting any pressure on this because I want to be able to peel this thing up really easily. That's why I'm not smashing it down on here. But again, this doesn't really take very long, and it gives you a very nice surface. It's very cheap, inexpensive to do. This one I really try to line up very nicely with the ends of this tape, or even overlap it a little bit, that's okay. Put it down. The easy thing is roll it down. Then you generally don't have quite as many wrinkles in it. Okay. So then what I do is I trim it off here. And again, how neat this outer edge is, that's going to determine, what your screen filler looks like. Okay, so then what you do, now you're here, is I burnish this inner edge down. I make sure this is really well done, but not this outer edge, because what you're going to want to do is very carefully try not to, mar your edges or anything. So I try not to push this thing down too hard. So then pick this up, pull this off, and you should be ready to go. Then what I do is I take my screen. Again, I try to line it up on this grid. Try to have about 6 inches around it when you put it down. And I just use the grid and lay it down gently. You can always sort of pick it up. You want to try to avoid wrinkles in it. That's what you want to try to avoid. This is when you burnish this edge. Take your finger and just really make sure this is sealed, because this is where you don't want screen filler seeping under. It's probably not going to, especially because this is plastic, it's not going to get under there. Even if it's newsprint, I've never had it come under. It'll seep under here a little bit. So this is when I make sure I try to get every one of those little things out, and that's it. You're ready to put your screen filler on.